June 22nd, 1941. There are many things that can be discussed about the Red Army. The organization, the structure, the support units, the artillery, the logistics, the equipment, the training, the reserves, the mobilization plan, the war industry, the state of the Soviet Air Force. But no, today I have no time for any of these. Because today, June 22nd, the Germans crossed the border and invaded the Soviet Union. The Soviet Western Front is torn apart as the Panzer spearheads race into Minsk and across the Dwina River. By the end of the first week, over 600,000 Soviet soldiers, including 6 high-ranking generals, have simply gone from the Red Army order of battle. Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel and finally welcome to the first, I would say it's the second episode, but for me it's like the first episode of this new campaign, the first episode in which something finally happens. And yes, the online game against my friend King GD has finally begun, and oh boy, the situation is critical, is damn critical. And the way I wanted to structure the episodes of this series is to have 2 episodes per turn. In the first episode I will cover the events, the losses, anything related to the leadership changes, if there is anything new, or any major event, and of course I would like to focus, and I will focus on the ground movement phase of anything that happens north of the Prypiat marshes. In the second episode I will talk about what happens south of the Prypiat marshes, and I will cover the movements of the units to and from the reserve and maybe to the other fronts, the other boxes. Because yes, let's say, small spoiler, I found out that the best way to let's say increase the experience of your units is of course leaving them on the map and engaging them into victorious battles, or is to send them into theater boxes in which there is an active fighting. Sure, they will suffer some losses, but they will also let's say adjust the experience of their elements to the national morale pretty fast, and they can even go up the national morale from what I've read and what I tested. And yeah, brackets closed. Let's now focus briefly on the events. Judging by the fact that I only have 1 AP, I believe that the event about the citizen militias triggered instead of the one talking about the mobilization of 250,000 men. So now I will have these 7 new militia fighter units, and okay, for the first 2 turns I will only have 1 AP, which is horrendous. I really hate it, because this means that I can only build 1 depot per turn for the first 2 turns. And then I have the order from the big mustache man ordering me to hold Tallinn, and of course I also have this event. I don't think I mentioned this in the past, but this is one way to make the Axis advance even easier, by moving to the reserve theater boxes, the 100th and the 161st Rifle Divisions. And yes, of course, if we now have a look at the losses, so from here, from the summary, okay, I've lost like 614,000 men, almost 11,000 guns, above 4,300 AFVs and 4,200 planes. Honestly, I was expecting way more losses in terms of planes, but still, could have been worse. And if we now compare the losses, like the Germans, okay, the Germans already started with 10,000 men, let's say, hospitalized. So let's have a look at these losses. Like, they lost less than 10,000 men, 10 AFVs. Oh my god, this is insane. 10 AFVs and less than 200 guns, while, yeah, okay, most of my men have been captured. And yeah, if we look at now at the air losses, I mean, they lost 61 planes, flak losses 9, 36 in combat, 47 pilots, and 16 operational losses, while I've lost. So interesting, there was also some air fighting going on, because I've lost 9 planes, so it could be that they, yeah, I don't know. But still, like the majority of my losses were lost on the ground, and it looks like I've lost one plane, because there is one extra losses maybe in the logistics phase. Okay, 23 operational losses. Okay. Anyway, yeah, the situation is not one of the brightest, I must say. And oh yeah, also about the generals that I mentioned. Oops, no, leader. Yeah, so like 6 of them were commanding Army Corps. I think only Vasily Kuznetsov was commanding, most likely, I think, the Third Army, and he just died. And overall, I mean, only Kuznetsov had some decent infantry ratings, while the others were just garbage. Like Ivan Kopets, look at this guy: Infantry 1, Mech 1, Admin 3, Initiative 4, Morale 3. Like, come on, man. And of course, you see here that Dmitry Pavlov has been executed because, yes, apparently, the big mustache man has had enough of him, and so he was arrested and executed, and now Semyon Timoshenko took command of the Western Front. It's funny to see this because this is precisely what happened in real life. Like, Timoshenko took command of the Western Front, but I think in early July, and not within the first week of Operation Barbarossa. Besides that, I have... Oh yes, about the Air Force. I did send already... Yes, all of the depleted air groups back to the reserve. Not all of them, because if I look at... There are some air groups which are depleted. No, maybe in the Western Air Command. There are, yes, like the Dorogobush, yeah, like these two. I still... So these of the 9th SAD were still inside the Minsk pocket, and I flew them outside. I still don't know why some air groups which were inside, when I brought them outside, I could send them to the reserve theater box, while these I could not. So I don't know. And besides that, I also sent to the reserve theater boxes all of the air groups that will be disbanded between turn number 8 and turn number 12. I want to leave them there and forget about these, and I would just want to keep on the map the air groups which will not disband, or that will disband later on in throughout the campaign. And yes, as you may have seen, I will focus only on the ground movement phase. I will show off some battles if there is anything, let's say, spectacular that deserves to be mentioned, but otherwise, just like as I'm doing with the Axis campaign, I will focus exclusively on the ground phase, because I think there is enough material for this. And as you can see, I kind of grouped the AOGs into their geographical locations. The Leningrad Air Command now covers the area of Leningrad, the Northwestern Air Command, the area between Pskov and Staraya Russa, the Moscow Air Command, of course, the area of Moscow, the Western Air Command is stretched between Veliki Luki down to Gomel. The Oriol Air Command is here around Gomel, but I think I will assign... Actually, let's do it now. The 9th SAD, the 79th SAD to the Western Air Command, yes. The Southwestern Air Command protects Kiev and central Ukraine. The Southern Air Command protects Odessa. The Black Sea Fleet and the Baltic Sea Fleet are where they are supposed to be. And then I have the Kharkov Air Command. I might send these guys around either this turn or next turn. And the Long Range Air Command has been now divided into its 4 air corps. The first one is here, the second is in front of Moscow, the third is between Oriol and Bryansk, and the fourth is between Dnipropetrovsk and Melitopol. Now, concerning the Air Force, I forgot to mention a couple of in-house rules. To better mimic the chaos and confusion and loss of command and control of the Red Air Force in the opening stages of Operation Barbarossa, we agreed in not using any... not using the Air Force for the first 2 turns. So I mean, I'm allowed to move and to fly the transport groups, but all of the combat groups, we agreed that they will have to be put on resting mode. And whenever the event, the Luftwaffe rules the skies, will be activated, I will have again to put the AOGs in resting mode as an in-house rule. So just let's say in the worst case scenario, for the next 13 turns, the Soviet Air Force will not take part into any action. In the best case scenario, in the only starting from turn number 3, the Soviet Air Force will join the fight on the Eastern Front. And yeah, I've pulled back the main AOGs, but I think I might even pull them back further, or maybe not, I don't know, it depends, let's see. And coming to the ground phase, the situation is bad, is pretty bad. King GD smartly used naval interdiction missions to isolate this portion of Latvia. It's something that any pro-Axis player usually does. And I mean, the Western Front is crippled. It does not exist anymore. The bulk of the Western Front is now trapped in here. Somehow I still have the 49th Rifle Division here. That's cool to see it here, but let's see, it has 1 of defensive value, so I don't think I will move these units around too much. Maybe I will just damage as much railway as I possibly can to slow down its supplies, especially here in the Baltics. Maybe I will group my units here in the marshes and in the heavily forested areas. But besides that, there is nothing I can do over here. And outside of the pocket, interestingly, King GD, oops, no, I said, yeah, did not manage to seal this pocket, but here I have, okay, 8 movement points, and yeah, this is all what I can do with this unit, which is depleted, by the way. The 11th Army can do this. The 3rd Army can do this. So I can actually pull these. I mean, look at that. Okay, I might save the. As I said, I might save. Actually, yeah, let's bring these guys out. Yeah, the 11th can be saved, definitely, assuming that King GD will not break through my lines in the upcoming turn. But still, yeah, these guys are doomed. Anyway, outside of the pocket, the situation is now to not to have a continuous defensive line, but rather to defend Pskov and Veliki Luki. The idea is then to have kind of a line stretching from Pskov behind the Sorot, and then to link up here in the marshy area of the Lovat River, and then behind Veliki Luki. I don't think that I will defend Vitebsk, but I will try anyway to establish a defensive line here to secure the railway line between Veliki Luki and Vitebsk. I honestly, I don't know if it makes sense to hold the land bridge. Maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. But for sure I want to hold Smolensk for as long as I possibly can. And then I want to curve down behind, ideally behind the Dnieper River. And then, yeah, establish a defensive line here, because I can see the mass of the 2nd Panzer Group over here. This is the 18th Panzer Division. Here we have the 45th Infantry Division. Okay, so he definitely partially motorized many infantry divisions, since he had the vehicles and the APs to do it. And yeah, so defending the Dnieper line, and then holding out onto Gomel, and then again the Dnieper, and then down to Kiev and into Ukraine. This is the plan, but as you guys know, no plan survives the first clash with the enemy. So let's see what I can do this week to hopefully rescue the situation and establish a defensive line that will hopefully hold for at least one more turn. Enough talking now, and let's dive straight into the episode. So guys, as a general, let's say, comment before saying a few things about this episode, I've decided to record the same way that I've been recording, and I'm recording the Axis campaign in single player. So double speed, fast forward, and yeah, we'll just let's say a few comments about what's going on the map, and also because some people may ask, King GD can watch you and he can adapt his strategy based on what you're doing. So we are playing with a 3 to 4 turns, say kind of delay. So we are playing at least 2 turns per week. So there is no way that he can kind of learn from my moves and see, let's say, without the fog of war option, kind of, so to speak, where my units are, because I'm moving them on the map and I'm showing him where my units are. So there is no such risk. Also, there is no risk because he is such a boomer, more boomer than me, to be honest. He doesn't have any social media. He barely has WhatsApp. I believe he does have a YouTube account. I mean, a Google account, but he doesn't use YouTube for creating content, let's say. And yeah, with this talk, let's say the general idea was to, yeah, as I said, to establish a defensive line behind the Velikaya River, I think it's called, the one that crosses south of Pskov. I wanted to assign the mechanized corps, the one that starts between Ostrov and Veliki Luki, to the 22nd Army, but then I changed my mind and I assigned it to the, I think it was the 11th Army, and I wanted to try a few things. At the beginning I was like, okay, I can just leave, I can group the infantry, or sorry, the rifle divisions around Pskov and Ostrov, and then I can focus on the defense of Veliki Luki. But then I thought that this would have left a gigantic gap through which King GD would have simply thrown his panzers into it, and thereby he could have simply bypassed the defenses of Pskov and Ostrov. Yeah, exactly. It was the 21st Mechanized Corps. And so I positioned my units to have kind of an overlap between them in terms of zones of control. Just because I didn't want to give him some free movement points when advancing, let's say, next week. And besides that, I then focused on the defense of Vitebsk. Again, at the beginning I was like, yeah, maybe I should not defend Vitebsk, because anyway, I see that he has one mobile unit, most likely a panzer division north of Ulla and southwest of Vitebsk. And I thought, yeah, maybe I should give up. Vitebsk, then I was like, no, I mean, this is like, I want to really role play this, and in real life, the Soviets would have never given up Vitebsk without a proper fight. And so I said, you know what, fine, screw it. I'm going to defend Vitebsk with the infantry, with the rifle division that arrived already this week on the map. And then I noticed one thing, because of the way I scripted the arrival of the Soviet units, I had to move many units via railway, and by the time those units arrived in the target destination or rail yard, They had no more SMPs, strategic movement points, available to disembark and set up and prepare defensive positions. And so I don't know. I tried to just leave them there. I parked them there on the railways, hoping to kind of dissuade or delay the German advance. And spoiler alert, this will fail miserably. Like, never do what I'm doing right now, because it's horrible. But yeah, I won't say anything too much. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, this was just an emergency situation. Maybe it would have been wiser to bring them to Smolensk and unload them in Smolensk, but this would have meant to give up Orsha, maybe Vitebsk, and most likely the whole Dnieper line. Concerning the NKVD border guard units, I wanted to save them all, or save as many as I possibly could of them. And so, because they are multi-purpose units, you can use them either as combat or as support units. I don't know if this is legal or if it's fair, but I kind of exploited the possibility to reassign them to the closest HQ, and then I converted them to support units. So that by setting already all of the HQs to have a support level of 0, hopefully next turn they will be sent to the STAVKA, and they will be disbanded, thereby saving a bit of manpower and equipment from units that honestly I don't think I will ever need anymore on the map. And besides that, also here in the sector of Bykov along the Dnieper River, I sent southwards the 64th Rifle Division, because again I realized I don't have units. I don't have units. I mean, I have units, but they are not ready. They cannot be moved along the Dnieper River in one go. So I said, okay, fine. I will just park the 64th Rifle Division there, and hopefully the German recon will not spot this gigantic gap along the Dnieper River. I also have to say that the terrain here strongly favors the defenders, because you have a major river and you have swampy hexes. So it's very, let's say, demanding in terms of movement points to cross these hexes here, even when they're not occupied by directly occupied by an enemy unit. And then, because again of the clogging and congestion of the railways, I had to leave many units simply stationed there along the railways, waiting for, I would say, next week to unload them to the main stations. And yeah, this week was just spent in shifting units, sending units around on the map, and moving units on railway convoys to bring them closer and closer to the front line. And yeah, I would say that's it. That's all for this quick chat and talk. And well, as always, folks, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. And well, don't abandon it, because there is still one episode coming up in which we will have a look at what happens south of the Prypiat marshes.